Hey guys, Basti here, and I wanted to make a video today because I know this topic, kind of age group, really affects at least someone you know, and if not, affected yourself. So today I'll be talking about the current status of the job market and specifically for post-grads and this generation that has really been given a job market that has probably historically been the worst, if not one of the worst, since around the 80s and around the pandemic. But even around in the pandemic, a lot of these industries were hiring soon after because it did have a really big rebound from 20% back to normal levels within like 6 to 8 months. Picking these, whether they like it or not, will give them the security that they're after. And that's really the whole point of college, is the ROI of that major that you seek the education for, where you're spending thousands of dollars now to learn and to progress later on in life more than someone who didn't get that specialized degree in order to earn a higher salary later on and receive a greater investment and return on said education that you forked over the thousands of dollars for in your early 20s. But in reality, it's not just about the major anymore. The entry points for a career have really narrowed, and we've really seen this in the last 2 to 3 years, and especially in 2025. Right now, the current labor statistics unemployment numbers are at 4%, but in reality, for someone 21 to 30, they're more like closer to 8, nearly 10%. So 1 in 10 people you know around our age don't have a job. And I'd even argue it's higher than that for people who work 10 to 15 hours a week just to be able to have the lights on, or even 20 hours a week part-time to pay their rent while in school or after currently graduating and not having a full job that really can provide them the income to have a stable life. And that brings me to internships and how important they are. Internships in college are probably the number one stressor, more than GPA, more than succeeding in passing your classes. And it really propels, and it's also the reason why they're so stressful is they're ingrained into the student from not only the parents, your career coaches, if you have one, your professors, of how important they are. They don't understand how few bridges there are between school and work. And that's really the problem and what people who aren't our age don't understand. And around between 2021 and 2024, internships were down over a third. So 34% of junior role internships were cut right around when a lot of people I know were applying for internships and wondering why they didn't get them. And this means the pathways from school to work and getting there are down 34% in order to gain real world experience after college. And internships are no longer abundant. Everyone hears the statistics, especially with my major, finance, about these big investment firms like Goldman Sachs, Chase, Lazard. Like they get, I think, Goldman Sachs in 2024, 2025 received 60,000 applicants for their internship and junior level roles, and they took less than 500. So that puts into perspective how astronomically saturated these roles are and how competitive they are. And everyone knows without internships, you're graduating with zero applied experience. And that puts you in the black hole where most people who don't apply themselves or don't get lucky, whatever the reason is. So you're crawling out of this hole where a majority of people, and I'd say probably 80%. So you're starting off your career with thousands of dollars in debt, no real applied experience in the role that you're looking for. It makes it even harder to really win over the person who's interviewing you and to say, hey, hire me over the master's student who has experience, over the millennial who's been in the industry for 5 years. It makes it almost impossible to get your career going. And that is the tension that current market for Gen Zers and similar ages that are feeling right now. It brings me to the death of the junior hiring and mentorship programs that these companies have. Companies have completely slashed junior level roles and early career programs. There's no more training and mentorship because these companies, if you put yourself in their perspective, it's just not a profitable investment. The cost benefit analysis for these companies often results in not hiring at all or hiring mid-career only. And because the companies today that are hiring have so much say and pull, they can really hire whoever they want because someone's going to apply, really. It's not like the tech in 2021 or even hiring back then when they literally hire anyone with a comp sci degree. And now the case, we're seeing all these layoffs and so on. But back to my point, there's no more formal pipeline that transitions someone from school and college who's even actively applies himself, even maybe has extracurricular stuff, solid resume. There's no formal pipeline, and there's far fewer chances for students to break in. And that's the real issue, because firms no longer want to take chances on unproven talent. If someone works an internship at a company, they don't want to teach them the ins and outs of that company, and then later on, 6 months later, when they graduate, go to a competitive firm, because that's the cost of that just doesn't make sense to the firm. And that really is the state of early career that it is right now. And my opinion on this, from someone who's spent thousands of hours applying, heard back when I was a freshman that, oh, you're guaranteed a job after applying 200 companies. Oh, 2-3 years later, oh, you're guaranteed a job applying 500 companies. Oh, maybe now in 2025, if you apply to 1,000, you're guaranteed to get like 10 or so interviews. But right now, those are from people who don't know what it's like to be in that position, especially without any experience. And right now, the number one thing I want to tell someone who's in college, out of college, or even later in career, the numbers game does not work anymore, especially with who you're competing with, because people with jobs don't like their job. So you're competing with people who are currently working full-time 40 hours, but are also applying to these jobs that you yourself are applying for just so they can progress their own career, which is fair. This video is with no malice. This is just to get my point out here and to tell everyone what reality is right now and why you're in this position. And that brings me to what you can do to get yourself out of this position. The number one thing in college you can do is not GPA, not how good your resume looks, what connections you have with people in the place where you want to be. The connections are the only real differentiator that you have in this market. If you have bum friends that don't really have a direction, but on the other side, if you have friends that already had that internship that you're looking for, those are the connections and referrals that get you in the door even without experience. I didn't land my role solely because of the skills I had. It was because someone put my name to the interviewer. They put my name on my application, and they got the eyes on my resume. And that never happened, or more than half the times that it did happen, the thousands of jobs I applied for, I eventually got rejected because no one backed my name, and I didn't have the experience for it. But when someone referred me that's well connected within the company, I got in with 5% effort that I probably did with other jobs. So that's the reality of it. Referrals get you through filters, give you trust, and get your resume looked at. If you didn't build a network in college, or if you're in college right now, you have to connect with professors, go to their office hours, stand out. I know someone that's currently in Dubai because they knew their professor well and got them an internship in Dubai. That's just one example. If you have a strong network in college, you're likely to stand out in the system. Without a personal the reality of this job market is you're just another name in a black hole. Get your name out there, start connecting with alumni, probably the best start. If not, friends who've worked at companies. You got to get the ball rolling, and eventually I promise you it will work. It's way better than spending 5, 6, 7 hours a day just hitting the apply button, because you're really just wasting your time. The brutal truth is nepotism works. This generation has walked into an economic system that feels rigged, even with the fancy comp sci, engineering, STEM major, or even finance like myself. And the reason why I'm so invested in this, because of my personal experience, but no one really prepped me, especially when I was younger, for the job market that we're in. Internships are rare, entry level requires experience, and it's just the whole system is rigged against you. So you have to be smart and advocate for yourself. And luckily, I was able to do this, land my first job, and with enough testing experience, I'm on my way to a six-figure role, letting you guys know how this upward mobility can change your life and push you to be in the career and have the safety that you're really craving, because you're only a college student for so long and you have to be thinking about the bigger picture before you even think that you should. So hope you guys enjoyed my thoughts. Share your own experiences in the comments and let me know what you want to hear about next time. And if there's something else you want me to touch on later, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.